So I may end up with a slot in buffalo quota that, man, why not?
There
Right?
you go. You only live once, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But yeah, so it's real easy for me to know on the year and the animal whether what I'll do on the price.
Sure.
So,
sure.
but good question, and there is a big difference. There's a big difference. There's a big difference. Both are good. I recommend, as long as you're going to Africa and keeping safari outfitters alive, good on you. But at the end of the day, all my hunting days are in Tanzania or some other big game area. And I've done it.
We're going to have to definitely check it out. That's what I'm saying. If you're going to be around, I'll probably get a hold of you this weekend and chew on your ear a little bit more.
Yes, sir. I am. You got my number. So sorry it took me a while to get to you. But yeah, that's the short answer on that one. Does anybody want to add anything to that? I mean, we have guys here that have probably hunted in both.
I've never been, but I'd rather go somewhere like what you're talking about myself. Yeah, feel like you earned the buffalo or whatever you're after, you know what I mean? And actually experience Africa.
Anybody else done both that agrees or disagrees with me? Or chime in on a different point we left off, Mr. Austin?
I had a
Yeah, Nathan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I don't know who I got, but I can hear somebody.
Nathan, this is Action Bob. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Action Bob, go ahead, sir.
Go ahead, Bob.
Action Bob, I can hear
Yes.
you. Go ahead.
I don't have the greatest internet connection, but I've hunted Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and South Africa. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
There is no damn comparison.
Action Bob, how would you describe, when you say there's no comparison, what were the biggest differences in your mind between the two?
Just getting out into the real wild areas versus, I mean, having fuel brought in blue barrels from 5 hours away or more versus pulling up to the gas station. Just it's a different world. And just the challenge of it all, not seeing any fences, being out there. When you get a flat tire, you had better be able to deal with it with what's on the truck versus calling the neighbor to come and help you change the tire. So it depends on what you want.
I agree with that. I agree with that. It does. It depends on what you want out of the safari. And what you want as far as an experience, and it is. So thank you. Anybody else on that one? Anybody else done both?
Yeah, I have, Nathan. This is Bob. I had bought an auction hunt at SCI and into South Africa, and it didn't seem to me. It was sleeping in a bed every night in a house, you drive 3 miles and get out of the truck and walk around. It was it didn't seem to like hunting to me, and it was a large property, but there was a big fence around it. But it was it's a different experience. Yeah, in Tanzania, in some areas, that one area that we were in the Selous, except for game rangers, we didn't see any people for 2 weeks, other than the hunting party we were with, and a bunch of game rangers came through. That's how remote it was.
With me privately.
Okay. Do you not answer?
Well, I got to hit on chat here.
Bob, I got. I lost your face here, but yeah, you're right. On that hunt, on your, On your hunt in
Okay, privately.
Tanzania, you don't see any people, right? And then it's on you to exist. Now we have a comfortable camp, and you sleep in a bed, and there's a
Oh,
cook.
yeah.
And all that.
But you're not in an air-conditioned splendor at night. You know, you're in a nice tent with nice food. But you know and actually there's a toilet that flushes. The miracle in
And
the
a
middle
hot
of the bush.
and a hot shower. And a hot shower.
Did you, by chance, Robert, did you take your spouse with, or did anybody that's been over there take your spouse with?
I've taken her on 2 hunts. One with Nathan.
Okay.
And the one to South Africa. Now the one with Nathan, I got her. I thought I'd get her hooked, but I never did quite manage that one. But Nathan was kind enough to hook up a photographic safari. I think it was on the front end, and so that was a real treat for both of us. It was about 4 or 5 days, and but yeah, I brought her on both. It's she's a trooper.
Sure. That's good to hear that, I mean, like you said, you being over there and knowing that you had your spouse along speaks volumes.
Yeah. It's, but it's, you only live once. And if you ever have the opportunity to hunt in Tanzania or Zimbabwe, in that area of the world, on a real hunt, it's probably one of the highlights of my life.
I guess I've got a different story than you guys do. I hunted the worst hunt of my life. I didn't shoot either one. I probably walked 100 and some miles up and down the Limpopo River and saw 2 buffalo that had milk stains on their lips, so they weren't even shootable. The camp was terrible, the equipment was terrible, and that was in '97, and I didn't go back to Africa until 2007, and I went to South Africa and shot a buffalo. I know it's not the same challenging hunt that you guys went on for that part, but it was still a very good hunt. Last year we went back and hunted a 23,000 acre ranch. I didn't hunt buffalo, my 2 friends did, and they both worked their butts off to get their buffalo and both shot great buffalo. I'm not knocking Zimbabwe, but I can tell you, whatever you do, don't use a booking agent. I am not a fan of booking agents. I want to talk directly to the outfitter or PH or whoever's doing the hunts. You get burned like that once, it really turns you off. And to me, my next place I wish to go to is Tanzania, but it's going to be somebody with a damn good reputation and a damn good list of people that I can talk to, because those trips aren't cheap, and when you get totally burnt, you're pretty sour on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very true, and unfortunately, Zimbabwe used to be one of the greatest places. And when you went, it should have been good. But that southern region, that Crook's Corner, there used to be a big ranch down there. I can't remember. But right now, a great buffalo hunt in a wilderness area can be a total shit hunt. I mean, there may not be buffalo in this great priced hunt in a wilderness area. So you got to be careful of that too, right? I mean, and that's what happened.
We were just north of Crook's Corner up in the Sengwe.
Yeah.
And right against Kruger, but it was
time of year. Yeah, time of year.
I was in there in May or June, but it was just the whole operation, and nothing went the way he told me it was going to, and it just ended up being a total disaster.
Yeah. I'm with you. So,
Nathan, what are your thoughts on booking agents? Because on my 2 safaris I've gone on so far, I've always booked directly with the outfitter, and in both cases, they both had pretty negative things to say about booking agents.
So the reason, this is actually funny, and Jerome will back this up. The reason that I'm on AH today is because somebody called me a booking agent on a forum several years ago, and they were like, well, I'd go with so-and-so and so-and-so, but you mentioned Bullet Safaris and so-and-so and so-and-so. They're booking agents, so stay away. And I called Jerome up, and I'm like, hey, man, you got to take that down. I'm like, that's a lie. And he said, hey, why don't you get on the forum and combat it yourself? Because I know it's wrong and you know it's wrong. So that's actually why I'm on AA, because of that. Now, am I pissed at booking agents? Do I not like booking agents? No, I like booking agents. I like booking agents that do their job like an old school booking agent should. Right now, what we have is referral companies that run a website, and they want to give me a number of a guy, and then they want some money, right? It's a money thing for them. And hey, we all got to make money. This is what hunters do. Professional hunters and outfitters make a living off your hunt, and it is a business. But a booking agent that's only interested in money and just throws me a couple numbers and says call them, no, that's a bad booking agent. A booking agent that does their job and knows a lot about Africa. There's some around that have 3 times the years that I have, right? They've been booking hunts for, that'd be too long. There's a couple women that have been booking hunts for almost 40 years that are at DSC, right? That are on the show floor that have, and they know the areas, they know the outfits. And there's good ones and bad ones like anything else. Now, in this day and age, do you need somebody in between? I don't know. Do you? I mean, how much time do you want to put in your own research for your own trip? And then how much research do you need to put into a booking agent to make sure you find a good one? So everyone's different, right? Everyone's different. And yeah, Mr. Graham he got caught in a bad area with a bad one, and it can happen. So, and also, hey, just because Tanzania is the most expensive, supposedly the most expensive, that was another question I wanted to address, and it's supposedly the best, you can get screwed in Tanzania. Somebody will take your money and run away in any place in Africa. So be aware, know who you're dealing with, do your research. Yeah, that's what I can say on that. All right, I want to get to Mr. Mark Mullenix.
Yeah, you did well.
I can't hardly. I thought my ears were bad, and maybe my eyes are going bad. Anyway,
No, you're good.
Hit me with a question, then we're going to go to Mr. Robert right next to you on my screen there. I'm trying to find your.
The 2 questions that I had for you were, one was what's the situation on the importation of lion out of Tanzania? Because actually, I talked to you about that in Vegas 2 years ago. Yeah. And you had some clients that had killed some cats and were working through the process to get them through under the new process that we're in. So that was the first question. And then the second question that I had was, what is the status right now with South Africa? Because there's a lot of people that's not only on here, but on the forum that are, have trips planned. I'm going there August 14th, but probably not. So have you had any indication when that's going to open up back to, recreational hunting in South Africa?
All right. Good deal. So I'm going to answer the last one first.
Got
it. South Africa, will it open? Because we're recording this on the record, I'd like to say nobody knows. I mean, nobody knows, right? I mean, it's tough to call a shot on that. I have lost. I have not. I've had to reschedule several safaris in May, and it's been rough on us. South Africa has a very strict opening up process, and And I personally don't see South Africa happening in June, July. I'm hopeful in August, but I doubt it. If I had to put money on the table, it'd be on September.
Okay.
And I'm an optimist, right? I mean, like I want this to happen, and I'm an optimist, and that's where I would place my chip. That's where I'd place my chip. They don't seem to be too worried about tourism, and and it's just a very bureaucratic process that's unfortunate. And a lot of my friends and some of my PHs, well, my PHs and friends are suffering over there, and I hate it. It's a bad deal. And then you got the problems with travel and SAA probably maybe going broke or whatever. And then you got the gun situation, and then there's just a lot of stuff to sort out in South Africa, and it's unfortunate because South Africa's a good location with some great hunting. I prefer the plains game hunting there, but it's got some great hunting. So, yeah, that's my answer on South Africa. Does anybody got more or better information on South Africa? Anybody think that September's a bad bet, or you think I'm right on that?
There was a notice today that, and I mean, who knows what's going to happen, but there was talk that South Africa wasn't going to open till February next year.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that today.
Wow, I did not see that, and I don't know who said it. What was the source there, Graham?
Well, it was from the government of South Africa. It was the president or whatever it was there. Their phase opening, it's no dates on a lot of it, and just kind of the general consensus that nothing's going to happen until they're really confident that this COVID has died down and gone away and not resurged. So, like I say, everybody's got their own opinions and everybody's got their own ideas, but I think the proper answer, Nathan, is we don't know.
Yeah,
None
I
of
think
us don't know. Not
yeah.
from our country, not from your country, not from,
Yeah, and then
apparently Tanzania is Tanzania open now?
yes, sir. Tanzania reopened about a week ago.
Right.
The Minister of Tourism, and we were in a lot of meetings with them, right? But they wanted to open. They want tourism to flourish. We plan to conduct a season, and I'm thankful for that. But really, we're just lucky. I mean,
well, here's the problem here. If I was going hunting with you in Tanzania, first of all, I've got to get there, which apparently I think is it Emirates or Ethiopia? One of the two airlines. I could find out how to get there, probably at a great expense. But if I got there, I can go hunt with you. When I get back here, I have to quarantine for 2 weeks.
so I don't. Is that a fact, or was that a question? If you return,
Well, that's a
from
fact.
Tanzania,
But if I travel out of Canada here and I come home, I have to quarantine for 14 days at my home.
okay, but that's Canada. That's a Canadian law. Anywhere you go internationally, you're quarantined when you get back.
Right. No,
Yeah,
it's
In
so
Vermont, you have to do that even if you go next door to the New Hampshire.
yeah.
Yeah, so
So
I would have to move.
That's the problem, Nathan. Is my 14-day or 21-day hunt with you, I've got to add 2 weeks on when I get home, and that's a little tough on business.
Oh yeah, no. So what I do at this point is I would reschedule your hunt for later in the year when it worked for you, and if we had to roll it over, we had to roll it over. So yeah, we're doing the best we can with it, but it's a mess. Now, I think most Americans, by the time they come over in August to Tanzania, if their mindset is that they want to do it, the flights are not going to be crazy. I looked at KLM in July, it's about $2,000. So the flights are well priced. There's many options. And I think relatively safe, but time will tell. And I think that most places in America, you'll be able to come back in and not be quarantined. Now, Canada or surely Vermont will lift that law, but I don't think in Missouri they shove me under. I wouldn't have to go live in the bathroom for 2 weeks. But this thing's developing. This thing's developing as we speak.
Well, I think one of the other fears is if you went to somewhere like Tanzania and you did get COVID, is you're probably not in the best place in the world.
Yes. Yep. That's correct. So that's another concern, is that if you do get it over there, you'll be stuck with third world healthcare in a remote location. And that's another concern that a person will have to weigh out. And it's a changing field right now. And this changing field of life with COVID also affects importation of the trophies, which was the second part of your question, Mark. The second part is lions and trophy import. Now, trophy importation in general, I talked to two of the companies I kind of like, which is D&L and Coppersmith. We've used them a bunch. They're good folks. They gave me good information today. But basically, the playing field has changed. Like, we may go back to putting all this stuff on a boat instead of an airplane. We may, there's lots of things with general trophy importation, export that are going to change. And it's a problem right now. But specifically lion. Now, specifically lion imports, there is no guarantee that a lion, I'm looking for my page on that. There's no guarantee that a lion can be imported from anywhere into anywhere into the United States at this time. Now, Mark, are you U.S. or Canada?
U.S. So let me ask you this. I mean, when I talked to you last year, you had a couple clients that had harvested lions and were going through the process of trying to get them back. And so I guess really my question was, have you had the success out of Tanzania? Because that was one of the countries that Trump allowed, 2 years ago, whatever, for the importation. Have you been able to process the paperwork for clients who killed lion with you and bring them back?
The information that I get is that all the applications are sitting with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and there has been
under review.
Under review. There has been no confirmed. I heard some rumors that 2 got in, but I don't think that's true. Nobody has produced it. It's not official. I don't know. But the U.S. Fish and Wildlife has failed to act. And so there's one company I talked to had 8 applications that are 18 months old. Some of them are 18 months old. And the other company had over 10 apps, and the oldest one there was 2 years. So they have failed to act on those. That comes from the expediters. So in 2019, there's no proof of any permit being issued to my knowledge for a lion anywhere, right? And then 2018, there was some permits issued. I don't know how many, but there were permits issued. So there are countries that qualify on a case-by-case basis, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife is failing to act, and there's no, and that's the information I've gathered on it, and there's no good news on it, except I personally think lions will be importable from Africa again, and I think that will happen before elephants are importable. That's my opinion.
You can always send them to my place.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'll send you my lion then.
All right, you got a deal. Come visit me and we'll look at it anytime.
This is great. I'd love to go to Canada and see the line with you. It'll be perfect. We'll all go
I want
together.
to see his left-handed rifles. He's got it
Well,
right behind him.
You know, you're talking about like
I
the
was just
two
saying, you're looking
importers
behind me. I got a bunch of left-handers too.
with D&L, and I think the other one, I don't know who the other one was you mentioned. They're like, I've been trying to get a Leopard back for 8 months, and it's actually supposed to ship today. So it was supposed to ship on the 16th of April when all this closed down, and I'm still waiting to get that thing out of Africa right now.
Which country?
Namibia.
Yeah, so I don't have much of an answer for that except everything's screwed up on shipping. We've seen some delays in Tanzania, but all of our stuff is going out. I booked some stuff today, or got confirmation on an air flight for some trophies today. Leopard permits took a long time this year. Approval of Leopard permits took a long time this year. The worst I've seen in a while.
I'm 8 months deep right now.
Yeah. So, and I've heard worse stories than that. I've heard longer than that, but they are being approved. So I guess, I don't know. I think lion will happen, but right now, I think lion before elephant, and it's something that I believe it's a political issue, and we all know how that may or may not play out.
So let me ask you this before you go to the next guy. So when are you going back to Africa to hunt for the 2020 season?
As soon as I can. I'm gonna.
Is that like next month or tomorrow?
No, sir. I've looked at our season in Tanzania. So we've rescheduled safaris for other countries because we do stuff in other countries. But I will be looking to fly back mid-July, and I expect my team will go to work here pretty soon. And I have very good people that help with the building of our camps and all that stuff. So I'm going to show up mid-July, and I expect to hunt end of July. Right now. So the earliest I could physically get over there without flying through some strange places is probably July 2nd on KLM. I could arrive July 3rd, but I don't want to be on the first flight because it's a waste of I don't need to be on the first flight over there. And we have some delays anyway. So my whole season has been shifted back. So, but yeah, I'll probably go mid-July, and I hope to be hunting by the end of July and through August and through September and into October.
Yeah.
So, of course, all that subject to change. It's speculation, right? I mean, it's a fluid battlefield right now. So I appreciate it. Mr. Mark. Robert Kimbrough.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, sir?
Good.
I'm looking for.
So my question centered around what would you recommend for the best areas for leopard hunting now? I met a old-time leopard hunter in South Africa a couple years ago, Osfield Jacobs, and he just thrilled me with his stories. And I was just really curious what you thought the best areas were.
All right, so it's easy. For me, the best leopard hunt, I've hunted leopard in all the countries we've talked about. I've hunted them South Africa, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and Tanzania, and there's no question the density of leopard and the success rate and everything around it, the quality of the hunt, everything around it is better in Tanzania. And there's no doubt that'll be the more expensive safari. The best leopard area one of the best that I ever hunted was in the Rungwa ecosystem. very high density of cats and good cats, and we hunted them. They're all daytime activity and just really great hunting. So that would be my answer on that. South Africa is very difficult. It's currently illegal. And another person asked if they thought that would ever come back. And I really don't think that it's going to come back to legally hunt leopard in South Africa. I hope it does. But South African leopard were always kind of tough, right? Leopard are tough anyway. So that's not a sales, it's a bit of a sales pitch, but not too much. Really, the best leopard hunting is in Tanzania. A close second, look at Zambia. Zambia has excellent leopard hunting as well. Okay. And we're also not just talking about the fact of getting a leopard. You need lots of available hunts. You need a high quota. Most people want to add different, you want to add other animals. So there's more to it than, there's several things that you want to look in depending on your, on what you want out of the hunt. But if we're just talking leopard and you're talking about getting them on your first try, there's no question in my mind it'd be Tanzania or Zambia.
If anybody's looking for a good read, The Soul of the Leopard.
Soul of the Leopard. I've never heard of him. What's his name again?
Bosveld Jacobs.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
South African, up in the Waterberg Mountains.
Okay. All right. Well, good deal. Good deal.
Nathan, my question was that I was the one that had the other question about South Africa on leopard.
Okay.
And I know the last couple of years, I think the one year they put out 5 or 6 permits, but they only put them out week before the end of the season. And you know better than I do about a bunch of this, but last year, I don't even know if anybody went for permits. But I've hunted 4 ranches in the last 2 years in South Africa. And we had leopards everywhere. We had them on trail cameras, and we had baits out for honey badgers and civets and stuff. What's the problem?
Well, so there's a couple problems. South African, even if they do issue the permits, they give a permit for a ranch, and a leopard covers a large territory. And then you end up running into, let's say, problems with boundaries. That's why I don't like it. I don't like dealing with that kind of stuff. So the second thing is most of those cats are very familiar with people. They know their way around them. They're very specific on, they're very cagey. And I don't know, I mean, I really enjoy leopard hunting, and I've got a process, and I know what I do and why I do it, but it may depend on the PH's approach. I'm not saying it's good or bad, or I don't know the specifics of your safari, but it has to either be the cat or the approach to the actual hunting of the cat, right? So, and it's probably the cat. It's probably the cat more than the. But it's one of the two. So if you got a bunch of cats on bait and you can't kill any of them, then either there's something wrong with the setup, and the cat knows you're in the blind, or cat's too smart. Cat's educated. So that would be my short answer on. Still alive. You've been patiently. You've stuck with me, sir. And my papers are so screwed up on my desk I couldn't. Mr. David.
That's it.
How you doing, sir? Lay it on me. What can I field for you before I get to some of these text messages that were sent through?
You know, I'm taking my son. He's 13 years old next year to a Plains, South Africa trip, and then I plan on going back for probably leopard and Cape buffalo. And so you answered most of my questions as far as calibers. I don't have anybody in California that I know. I just joined, SCI and stuff like that to try to meet people so I can, shoot the bigger rifles. But it looks like 375 H&H is a well-recommended rifle is what you're saying. So I plan on getting one of those. And then probably 2 years, go for dangerous game animals.
Okay,
That's
great.
where I'm at right now.
Great. So the general conversation fielded a lot of that stuff. And like you said, I hope it answered it good. You guys are going to have a blast. You and your son will have you guys have a big time. You guys will have a big time in South Africa.
We got 10 plain game animals, pretty cheap actually. And then we're just waiting for the flights to come available to do all the booking and stuff like that. But yeah, we're really excited to go. First time out there.
Good deal. Good deal. You'll enjoy it, and I'll be looking forward to hearing how it went. So, looks like we got 3. I'll start with Mr. Art because he's top right from me. Art, lay it on me.
You said you want to have a chance to show us some of your gear setup on this video.
Yeah. The gear setup. Okay, so I'll get to that. I'll pick my computer up and I'll show you some of the stuff. We had Still Alive. I saw you say something. What were you going to say?
You know, what's the best rifle for the 375 H&H to be looking at?
All right. I like bolt action controlled round feeds, and I like a Dakota, my personal preference. Dakotas are expensive, more expensive than others. I'm going to show you a good controlled round feed Winchester here. That's an excellent choice. Personal preference. Find one that suits you, and I'd be happy to go through a bunch of the options with you on that. But I'll show you these. And then I saw Mark. Mark, you popped up. What was yours?
No, I was just going to say, a lot of these guys are talking about leopards. I went to Africa last year 5 times to hunt leopard, and finally killed one the 5th time. Just do your homework. Make sure you're going with the right people. I went to Zimbabwe, hunted in Namibia 3 times, hunted farm ranches, hunted this, that, and the other, and finally killed one the last time. I mean, you'll talk to some they'll kill one the first time. But I've got so much time, money, and effort in that thing. It's like the nemesis of my hunting career.
Where did you
do your homework?
That is a common, Mark, that's a common story. I've heard it. I've heard it for years at these shows. I'll have a guy walk by and he says, "Hey, I'm going on a leopard hunt to Zimbabwe." And he says, "Man, Tanzania, that's great. Too expensive." And then he comes by, and then he went to Namibia, and then he went somewhere else, and then he went somewhere else. So when you talk about the cost of something, you have one of the more expensive leopards on planet Earth.
I don't know that they get any higher than what I've got.
I mean,
where did you end up killing yours, Mark?
In Namibia.
Namibia, okay.
Yeah. But, here's the deal. Like in Zimbabwe, I saw leopard, but they were always female. And so, it is what it is. It's hunting. And kind of getting back to what Nathan was saying earlier, the difference between hunting in these areas versus South Africa, it's hunting. And, it is what it is. And so I'm telling you, I've got so much time on the stand, so much time in the air to go do this. You're better off to spend X amount of dollars to go with somebody like what he's talking about, that, hey, our success is 100%, maybe somebody missed one, whatever, 40,000 versus 20,000, 6 times later, it doesn't matter. It's, you're spending way more than that. And so my leopard was supposed to ship out of Africa today. I hope it did.
I hope it did too. I hope it did too. It's another benefit on some of the big game hunts where you get into the bigger game areas as opposed to a ranch leopard is you'll be able to hunt buffalo. You may be able to hunt croc and hippo. You can get some other big species, but you're going to pay for it. You're going to pay the freight to get into those big areas. But when it's all said and done and you price it out per big game animal, being in a prime area where you have the best chance at multiple big 5 and the best area for your prime species, it's money well spent. But that being said, I'm going to take my earphones out here, and then Now keep in mind, y'all talk bad about me, I'll hear it on the recording later. But I'm gonna take my earphones out and I'm gonna pull up a few different guns, and then I'm gonna show y'all that ammo belt. What if we do that? That's just some equipment.
Nathan, thank you very much. Appreciate it. I think it's a great idea. Hope you do it again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good deal. I'll be back. I'll put my ears back in, and then I just want to make a closing statement to wrap up this video, because we're at 2 hours, and then I'm still going to be online, so we can keep talking. But I just want to make a closing statement so we have something wrapped up. So let me show you this gear, and then I'm coming back. I'm coming back on to wrap it up.
All right. The rest of you gentlemen have a good evening. Thank you.
Take care, Bob.
I put it in tight over that, and that's how I have it. On my back side is a very large knife. You know, it's a bit overkill, but it's a big knife, and when you need a knife, you might as well have a big one. In the back, I keep soft points. In the front, I keep all solids, and that's how that goes. So that's I wear this every day. I've got a radio and a GPS, and the knife is it's back up and it's held in by a magnet. And then the idea is, if I need to get this thing in a hurry, I can get it in a hurry, right? So that's why I do it that way. So that's the knife, and that's my backup softs for cats. So that's how that goes down. Here is my favorite gun. This is a 470, and this is what I carry for backup. And I really like it. It's not a good hunting tool. It is a great backup tool, in my opinion. So this is a Merkel. I like it because it shoulders very quick. It lines up good with my eyes. But the main thing is, like, I feel like I can dove hunt with this thing. I mean, I really feel like I could shoot a bird out of the air with it, and that's because I've shouldered it a billion times, and it fits me, and I like it. And that goes back to the client as well. Use a gun that you're comfortable with. I'm comfortable with this. I carry it everywhere I go. You'll notice there's not a sling on here. That's a Picatinny rail, and I've removed that. There's a reason for that. This gun does not need a sling. This gun needs to be in my hand. Slings get caught on things. It's a bad idea. So this gun is always in my hands, and that's the thing. This rail, I actually mount a very high-powered small flashlight for problems. We've had lions in camp that we've had to run off. I've had I sleep out in the bush sometimes. I mean, so I have a light that goes on the end of this thing, lights up the world and keeps everybody out of trouble. So that's my equipment. I'm gonna go and grab another good 375 that I like, that I'm working on. So staying alive asked about a good 375. This is a Winchester pre-64 Model 70. You can get these, if you're lucky, for somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000, I believe. I hadn't bought one in a couple of years. This is a good controlled round feed. That big extractor claw here is what provides reliable extraction if there's dirt or grime or a problem. You hear a lot of people talk about controlled round feed versus push feed. Now, a push feed rattles the bullet into the hole and you close over it. And it has a real little extractor thing. They are very accurate. They are good. Do not buy a dangerous game gun because it's a push feed. I think that's a bad. You buy a gun because you're going to shoot it well and you like it. But for long time work, this Mauser type action controlled round feed is kind of the go-to, and I like them. So this is a Winchester Model 70 pre-64. This is a Safari grade something or another, and it's great. And it's also right-handed, which makes me kind of mad. I wish it was left-handed, but anyway, that's another
I've
one.
got one.
This gun here is a 458 Lott. And if you want a dangerous game rifle that really kicks a lot, get a 458 Lott. I mean, they have a lot of recoil. You can see, I mean, I carried this for the first 5-6 years of my career, and it is a push feed action. It is a left-handed push feed Ed Brown 458 Lott. Cost me about, I can't remember what it cost me. I used this for the first, I think for the first 6-7 years of my career. I really like this gun. It shoulders fast. I can work the bolt fast. I mean, and it feeds very good. I had great luck with it. It also has a peep sight and a big blade at the front. So I like shooting a peep sight back then, and had real good luck with it. So this was a good, dangerous game rifle, very light, and it was a good one. So I had good luck with it.
Did you tape the back of the finger guard?
I wasn't able to get into other gear with you guys. I got boots and hats and different stuff just to bring up different points. But man, we had a lot to talk about, and it's tough to get to everybody. I appreciate you all sticking with me. And basically, in closing, you know, I hope everybody enjoyed it, and I really appreciate the support. I mean, hunters pay for conservation. That's as simple as it gets. Hunters pay for conservation, and you guys supporting hunting, being hunters, supporting Africa, they need the help over there, right? This isn't about me, although we did. Of course, I'm going to talk about my experience and what we do and what I like, but this really is about getting good information out. And I appreciate y'all's questions. I appreciate your feedback. I think the meeting went well. And at the end of the day, if anybody who watches this video or anybody that was in the meeting, I would appreciate it if you go comment on the video on AH once we post it. And then if you go to my website, bulletsafaris.com, and please, if you were in this meeting, go there and shoot me an email. I'm not trying to harvest your email addresses, but I do want your input on how to make these meetings better, more fluid, more interesting. Because the fact is that it's just like Africa. Your participation as a hunter in Africa saves animals. And your participation here in these meetings is going to create more hunters. So I really appreciate it. I have faith in our industry, and I have faith that hunting pays for conservation. So thank you guys, and I look forward to the next one. I'm going to end the recording here, and cheers. Okay, so I think I stopped. I think I ended the recording. That's good. I hope it took.